Hey guys, it's ViewMasters Reactions, and we're back with another Vox Machina related video. This one, the story of Vox Machina. Now, I saw this come up a couple times, and now I'm not sure if it was this or the legend of the story of the Legend of Vox Machina video that I've already watched way in the beginning. I feel like it was one of the first videos I watched after the trailer of the actual show that came out on Amazon a couple days ago. I kept thinking this video was that. I kept thinking people were talking about that. But no, there is a video that you're seeing right here. This is the thumbnail. This is the video I found now. It's called The Story of Vox Machina Fan Sub. Now, I'm told it is a 20-minute video of the story told by Matt Mercer and crew prior to the live streams, that it won't spoil anything to do with the show. And especially since I'm already 3 episodes in, it's already been confirmed that this won't spoil anything. I feel like they said it involves an event that happened right before. I also just watched the character bios, and there is a character in there named Tiberius, I believe. I skipped it as soon as he introduced himself. I feel like he said he was a half dragon, human, half-breed or something like that. Tiberius, I feel like that's what it was. Regardless, I immediately turned it off because I'm thinking, I don't know who this guy is. Is that going to spoil anything? But then I feel like somebody told me it didn't spoil anything because it's something that we're not going to tap into in the show itself. That I feel like might be tapped into here. I feel like most of my information came from somebody in the comments named Ocean Kim. Here you go. You get a little shout out, Ocean Kim. Thank you for the information. It got me to watch this video. So we're going to jump into this. It's a 20-minute video, and then we'll talk more at the end. You guys want to see more of what I do, full-on edited reactions of this and other shows I do, seasons ahead of what you're seeing, and hundreds of exclusives. Patreon link at the end. If not, here we go, guys. This is the story of Vox Machina. Intro music.
Grandest of adventures often stem from humble beginnings.
Love when he
The
narrates.
story of Vox Machina is one such a tale. They begin as a ragtag group of mercenaries in the swamp town of Stillben, eking out a living, when a job board posting brings them to friend with
that's the
Vox,
Tiberius guy. I
the
saw
wealthy
him.
head of a small merchant empire. Hired to investigate new competition in town called the Myriad, the path eventually leads them into a chamber housing a planar rift, pulling the group into the plane of the stillborn god Chrysathul. It is revealed that the contract was a ruse to feed the party to the undead fetal deity.
Oh my
On
god.
destroying the abomination, the party returns to repay Fendral's deceit with a blade to the throat.
My
Weeks
god.
pass, and Grog the Barbarian hasn't been seen since suddenly leaving for the city of Westrun.
Oh, I
Heading
like
there
he's
in search
tinting
of him,
it.
The party meets his childhood friend and their new companion, the gnome cleric, Pike. Grog apparently hasn't been acting normally, and had marched off on his own through the
I like that
Brownwoods
look with
towards
the
ominous mountain,
subs.
Gut Shadow. The party followed,
Shadow.
dispensing with a troop of roadside thieves along the way, and wound their way toward the mountain. Deep within, they encountered an abandoned subterranean city, and eventually, a crypt housing a mind-controlled Grog, the reanimated corpse of his father Strongjaw, and a dying mage attempting a ritual to reach him.
What?
Our hero slayed the mage, but not before he could complete the ritual and embed his phylactery into Grog's chest. Returning to town in search
What?
of aid, they find there are few of enough knowledge or power to ascertain the nature of Grog's wound. Also, rumors of missing children begin to reach the party's ears.
This got crazy
While contemplating
fast.
all this at a local inn, the party is approached by a mysterious elf named Dresvina, who wishes to pay handsomely for the party to infiltrate an archmage's tower and retrieve a particular brass box within.
Let's do it.
Pushing forward in the hopes of speaking with this archmage, the party accepts and passes through arcane trap after trap to reach the top of the tower.
My god, you can't mess around with this
Deciding
shit.
not to steal from the archmage, but instead parley with him for his aid. The tower's
Parley.
keeper, Realmseer Eskelrine Darien, agrees to help and sends the party to collect 2 items he requires for the ritual:
What is it?
the skull of a nightmare and the heart
The skull?
of a nymph. The caveat:
I'm assuming
the
a
defeated
nightmare is a
foe
thing.
indeed a lich now, and in merely 2 weeks he will be reborn within Grog. They travel north to the
Well,
Unger
that's
Hill,
rough.
wrestle with a
You don't
small
want that.
cult to slay their infernal messenger and his nightmare steed, and find a fresh companion in Percy, newly freed from imprisonment. From there, the party rushes south to the Frostweald, a forest shrouded in eternal winter. Battling past basilisks,
This is some great
the
storytelling,
party
and
finds
they
a single
talk about
unfrozen
basilisks a
pool,
lot.
where they coax a nymph from her dimensional sanctuary. Talking their way out of battle, Grog enters the sanctuary with the nymph and returns holding a jewel gifted by the beautiful creature, the heart of the nymph.
You can just
Traveling
get
back to
gifted
the
the heart. Alright, I thought he was gonna have to,
ritual is
like,
complete
kill her.
and the phylactery destroyed in time, but not without some lingering necromancy branded within Grog. They are suddenly approached by the mysterious elf again, saying his
giant
master
scar.
is unhappy with the broken contract, and he demands that either the debt be paid or the party complete a more difficult contract in its place. The party accepts.
Why is
heads
the
into the
tinting
Shade
on the shit
an
gone?
ancient
The
druid burial
subs.
chamber that was purchased and renovated by an eccentric lord who made it his own tomb. Fighting the denizens of the barrow, they locate the tomb and the iron golem guarding it.
Yes, fight.
Successfully defeating the
Oh,
golem,
they
they
already
tear
fought
the
it.
arcane cortex from its chest and return it to Dres to square their debt.
I feel like Tiberius might
After
be
a
the
bit
character
R&R,
of the dude that
a
left.
clean-shaven dwarf named Grimthorn propositions the group to enter a nearby underground fighting ring, even offering to represent them. The party agrees and, not surprisingly, manages to pull off a victory.
Underground
With the
Fight
holiday
Club.
of Winter's Crest arriving, the town bustles with preparation for a festival, during which a strange blue crystal is delivered in the name of Archmage Eskel. This crystal suddenly detonates, freezing the entire populace of Westron in ice, though the party is protected by a sudden ally in the streets. In a last-ditch, arcane effort, a mystic merchant named Noja manages to shield the group from harm. And where the crystal previously rested, now stood a pale, nude woman of white hair and frail physique.
Ah, she's not
She
attractive
opens
or
a
something?
portal and leaps through,
joking.
the party giving chase into what seems like an icy, frozen world, chaotic and elemental in nature. They catch up to the woman, who then reveals her true self, a great white dragon.
What is with these dragon
Triggered by
people?
her premature rebirth, the party manages to defeat her.
Good thing I didn't watch
Upon
this, because I
return
would have
to
thought,
Westron,
well, I did think
discover
dragon
its
people.
released from their icy prison. With the Archmage Eskel Reindarian now on trial for the attack on Westron, the party intercedes and proves his innocence. In thanks, Eskel uses his talents to investigate
This
the
thing is
source of
stuck on
the
me.
crystal, revealing the powerful society of thieves, known as the Clasp, responsible for its delivery. Vax, having previously been a member of the Clasp, knows the main
Clasp.
headquarters
It
lies
reminds me of
within
the Clash.
capital
You got the
city of
clap.
Amman, and Vox Machina sets out for the west.
Sorry. I
Upon
apologize.
arriving in the sprawling metropolis of Iman, the party continues to hear of children disappearing.
Hey, now we got
and
Tint again.
reports of a black
Is it
spirit
based on their
golden nightmare
voices?
befriending them
That's
before
Pike.
they vanish. While investigating, they do a few odd jobs.
Ashley Johnson.
One of which unexpectedly leads them to the home of Sildor, Vex and Vax's father, and his new wife and child. Awkwardness aside, Sildor is here as ambassador to Singorn, the elven city of their origin, to seek aid from the sovereign Uriel Tal'dorei. However, the political climate of Iman is tense, with a recent failed attempt on the royal family's life making Uriel unreachable at the moment. Sildor's connection within the council has now gone missing, and his mission stands at a complete standstill. He hires the party to look in on this missing ally, Sir Gregory Fence, and get his ear back to Singorian business. Vox
Fence.
Machina finds Sir Gregory's home dark and still.
That's
pushing
who
them to infiltrate and
got
investigate.
killed. Ooh.
Within, they discover a dark
Spoilers
presence in
on
the
that
hall,
one.
leading them into a battle with demons in the basement. The battle won. Sir Gregory's tortured corpse is found, as are his notes about the attempted assassination on Uriel and his family. It seems that since the attempt, the royal family has grown strange and withdrawn, keeping Uriel from the council most hours, and his wife now demanding she attend all meetings, whispering in the sovereign's ear and scoffing at the others who defy their decree. A General Krieg thwarted the attempt and is mentioned often. The party
Krieg's the dragon.
decides to inquire with him. On their way out
I
of the
feel like
basement,
some things
half
might...
of the party falls into a trap, tumbling into a cistern and are flushed deep below into a subterranean river system. The trapped party members, Vex, Caliph, Grog, Tiberius, and Percy, come to rest on a small island in the vast Crystalfen Lake.
I love
home
that
to a
place.
terrible
I
Alabeth.
vacation there.
Barely escaping, they eventually discover the base remnants of an ancient town long toppled, and a small hut that contains a clever hag named Trista.
Are parts of this
Tiberius finds one
related
of
to
his
the show
prized
that we just
artifacts
watched?
and makes a dangerous deal to acquire it. The party barters for information on how to escape, which Trista will give, in exchange for their aid in slaying a newly nested denizen that threatens her work. The party agrees, climbing to the very top of the Crystalfen Cavern to do battle with an Umberhawk.
Yes.
The fight goes south
Oh,
when
it's a
Grog
bug.
is tossed from the cavern ceiling, nearly dying upon impact with the island. But victory is eventually theirs. Returning, Trista shows them a hidden staircase that exits into the graveyard district of Iman.
The other members, Vax,
Grog. Grog's red like blood. Barbarian.
Drain to. Scanlan leaves to seek out a map of the sewers. While Vax
I love that we all have our
notice they're being
parts.
followed through the town, leading the pursuers into an alley. The shadowed figures attack, eventually knocking them both out. Vax and Pike awaken within the Clasp's headquarters, meeting with one of their leaders, or spirelings, named Modeth. The Clasp had Sir Gregory's home under surveillance, as bad political stuff can be difficult for the way the Clasp does business. And when our heroes were spotted leaving, they had to be interrogated. Vax reveals his membership to the Clasp sect in Westrin, and Modeth calls for a test of their skills and intent. Pike and Vax are then forced to
I'm just trying to pay attention.
with a chained chimera in the Clasp's arena. Their might rings true.
I love
and the
chimeras.
beast falls beneath their weapons. But Modeth is not convinced. While the two were held overnight, they managed to escape from the Clasp's lair, exiting into the night and managing to locate the rest of the party in the graveyard district.
All right.
Knowing their next step is to speak with General Krieg, Vax forges a letter of summons using Sir Gregory's handwriting, and the party is allowed entry into the carefully guarded Cloudtop district, the innermost area of the city and home to the Citrine garrison, as well as Amon's palace.
See, I feel like this is
Approaching the
being done
garrison,
differently.
They have an audience with General Krieg, who seems nice and keenly interested upon learning of the Clasp's involvement. He also mentions the difficulty in talking with Uriel since the attack, and is sad about the death of Sir Gregory.
Yeah, see,
Warns to leave the investigation to the officials. Vox Machina then heads to the palace to try their hand at speaking with Uriel, but entry is barred. They find another is being prevented from entering. A golden-haired woman in fancy blue robes who angrily stomps away from the palace.
that's the one that took us
They
on the
engage her in
airship.
conversation, and she reveals
Allura.
herself to be Allura Vysoren,
Yes.
a powerful arcanist and member of the Tal'dorei Council. They discuss the state of things within the palace, how Uriel is a good and trusted man, but his actions and those of the
Yeah, see, I feel like they
Emperor
met her
are
in the
recently
palace in the show.
suspect.
They must have cut corners
After
to
7
pack
days
it
of
all
being
in.
kept from the council chambers, she's about to give up and leave. The party tells her of their findings, and Allura leads them to her tower within the district to further discuss the matter in private.
Within, Allura and the party make an alliance.
Ah,
He
Scanlan's
aids
got like
her
a
in performing
purplish
a
pink.
shrine ritual on the palace.
Matches my
The
cotton
vision
candy
reveals
energy
that the
drink.
family of Uriel, his wife, 2
Frickin'
daughters,
right it
and
does.
son, are all under the influence of some demonic force.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
have addled the mind of their father, using him as a mouthpiece for their plot. The party decides to pay a visit to the Clasp, using Vax and Pike's knowledge of an entrance, and end up in a confrontation with spiraling Modeth within his chambers. The battle ends with Modeth's head on the floor, and 4 strange glowing crystals he had been keeping now stolen by the party. They attempt to leave, but are met by a host of Clasp members and another dangerous-looking spireling. Through Scanlan's deft lies and coercion, the party is allowed to leave unharmed before their deeds are discovered. They return to Allura's tower only to find
feel like
the
it's
front
almost
door
over.
ajar and the interior tossed by some previous scuffle. As they reach the top of the tower, they investigate, finding signs of a struggle with a demonic entity, and Allura's escape seemingly successful. Unfortunately, a magical defense of the tower is triggered, and it begins to cave and crumble around them. Through some ingenuity and the discovery of a magic carpet, the party manages to escape being crushed within. Allura's ivory monolith now compacted into a single
magic carpet ride saved
Our
them?
heroes then locate and enter the home of General Krieg, finding a brainwashed servant and a hidden passage that leads to a teleportation circle. Using the device,
The portal.
they are transported to a distant cavern, high in a range of frost-covered mountains, and an incredible hoard of gold, jewels, and fine trinkets. Across the room are 4 obsidian orbs placed within the rock. One is touched, and a giant eye appears from within the black crystal. A
We
voice
saw all
of
this.
calling for a brim scythe.
Brim
Noticing
scythe.
the unfamiliar folk mentions, "In truth,
I love how it's all tying
I
together.
know your face
Slightly
now.
different.
He is a fool, and so are you, insect." The orbs all crack simultaneously, becoming inert. Grog dives right in, rage looting the gold. But the arrival of the party seems to call the attention of General Krieg, who appears at the teleportation circle. He angrily denounces the party and reveals his true form. That
Thank
of a
God
frightening
I didn't watch
blue
this
dragon.
before the 3
The battle
episodes.
is difficult, with many an ally nearly devoured. But eventually, Vax strikes a mortal blow. Krieg, or Brimside,
And then the arrow.
defiantly smashes against the support pillars of the cavern in his death,
There's the arrow.
causing the chamber to collapse. The party barely escaping via the
No,
teleportation
Vax did it.
Leaving Krieg's home, Allura finds the party and warns that the evil that feeds on the throne is growing more bold. She herself was attacked shortly after the scrying was complete and barely escaped. As dark clouds fill the sky above Amon, the party decides the time to strike has come. Allura aids the party in infiltrating the palace, and they storm the throne room. Uriel sits upon his throne, surrounded by his creepily mannered possessed family. Vox Machina attacks, managing to banish the shadows from within their bodies. But the throne itself cracks in half as the dais below glows a deep red.
We have not seen this
summoning
part.
the entity behind the entire scheme. A devil prince called Jurazel, who tells the party of a great war between devils and demons.
I hope
spilling
this
over
doesn't
into
happen in the
flame,
show.
threatening all creation. He justifies his actions and notes all the demonic forces throughout the city, and tells them of the horrible devastation that will ensue if the party stops him. They read him as honest, and Jurazel asks for their aid in destroying the demonic threat, offering a single wish should they make a pact. The party deliberates and agrees.
All right, let's do it. I don't know if
Thinking over
that's
what they
something we
just
should do, but I'm down.
The party returns to the throne room, asking for their wish to be provided to aid them in their demon hunting. Upon its casting, the party wishes to cancel their contract with the creature and attack. The Devil Prince angrily reveals his true form, a hideous treachery demon.
All right, that's what I figured. I was like, whatever, I'm down. Let's go.
Long, deadly, and epic confrontation ensues. One that suddenly claims the life of the gnomish cleric, Pike. Her death fresh in their minds, Vox Machina deals the killing blow, sending the demon to its unmaking.
Is that sort of like when Lilith hit her?
Gather up the cold body of their fallen friend and rush her to a nearby temple of Sarenrae, where her resurrection ritual is attempted and succeeds.
The clouds disperse, the immediate danger over, but the royal family lies on the throne room floor, catatonic. Upon inspection, their souls are missing, and their bodies failing. The party recalls the 4 glowing orbs they recovered from the Clasp headquarters behind Modev, now identified as souls.
I don't know who this voice is.
And through a rigorous and tense evening, all souls are successfully restored to the family.
This must be the
A few
Tiberius
days
guy.
pass, and Sovereign Uriel Tal'dorei calls the party for audience. He thanks them all for their bravery, heroism, and for saving him, his family, and quite possibly all of Iman. As
Protectors
thanks,
of the
he
realm.
offers them a place on the Tal'dorei Council
That's
and
what happened.
informs them of his intent to throw another Winter's Crest festival to make up for the ones ruined in Western and here via assassination attempt, where they will be celebrated as heroes. He has also commissioned the construction of a keep for them on the outskirts of Iman as a sign of his very deep gratitude.
Because we're keepers of the
A week
realm.
later, the festival begins. The populace is out in
How
full
long is
force to
this?
meet
I
and
feel like it should've
celebrate
been
Vox Machina. But during the festivities, the party notices Uriel's son Gren speaking to another child, one with black hair and golden eyes. They immediately spring to apprehend the
What's that all
child, but he escapes with Uriel's son. They give chase, following him into an alley and through a portal of some kind. The party finds themselves atop a large island, drifting through the astral
What
plane,
the hell?
surrounded by a perilous bramble forest. They fight their way through, eventually coming upon a Gothic mansion
This is going
towards
so
the center
fast.
of the landmass. Within, the party makes their way to the inner library, where numerous kidnapped children are working all about the place, cleaning nervously. The Dread Emperor, as he calls himself, stands from his chair, the child illusion fading into a golden armored man with long black hair, 4 children chained at the neck to his breastplate.
What
He
the...
attacks the party with fierce magic, mind-controlling all of his child servants to attack as well. With the first blow dealt, they realize that damaging him also hurts the chained children, one boy accidentally falling in battle to Keyleth's magic. Eventually, they succeeded
Oh my
in
God, it's so
destroying the
dark.
Dread Emperor, and returned to Iman with a host of lost children, happily now found.
In 5 minutes, they just
6 months of
did all
peace
that. That
follow
was
as their new keep
intense.
is constructed, and the party scatters to their separate business until its completion. Upon their return, they assess their new abode with delight, naming it Grey Skull Keep. They then
Castle
send out
Grey
job
Skull.
inquiries, seeking guards for hire and servants. After an impromptu tryout, they settle upon their new hires.
That evening, the party receives a visitor.
Back to
their
Matt.
Friend
This might be it.
Tal'dorei Vysoren. She happily sits with the party for dinner and trades tales of their past months, before asking if she could hire their services for a matter of great personal importance. Allura's longtime friend and ally, Lady Kima of Vord, has gone missing, following a vision quest from her deity, the Platinum Dragon Bahamut.
What?
Her last letter spoke of an evil taking root beneath the dwarven city of Craghammer, and Allura worries for her safety. While Allura is unable to go herself, she can provide the proper paperwork for entry, and would pay handsomely if they could find, aid, and return with Kima. Vox Machina agrees to the new contract, and sets out for the city of Craghammer the very next day. As for the rest of their journey, the legend of Vox Machina is
My
still
God.
being written.
Is that the only one there is? All right, guys, so that was awesome. That was very interesting. They did not hesitate for a minute. The story was jumping all over the place. We'll find out there's kidnapped kids, and then 2 seconds later, we're battling this epic guy who has children shackled to him, and when you hurt him, the children are hurt, and Keyleth, from what I gather, they said one of the kids was struck down. That to me means he was dead. So I'm assuming that is what it is. I don't know what else it could mean. I feel like they're trying to use wording that won't be like child murdered violently. But Keyleth basically killed a child without intentionally doing so by striking this man. What a crazy, dark, warped thing to have. But I love the idea. You have a guy who has children shackled to him, and when you hurt him, the children get hurt or die. It reminded me kind of how Michonne in Walking Dead had the walkers on the chains and would kind of use them as defense, but these are living children, which is way darker and horrible. Obviously, she did what she had to do and they were undead. It was totally different, but that's where my mind went with the shackles attached to the people and stuff. Oh my God. After having watched this, I'm assuming Tiberius is the voice of the guy. I cannot remember his name right now. I know you guys have told told me 100 times, and I knew it, and I just can't think of it right now, but the guy who is no longer part of Critical Role, I'm assuming that was Tiberius. So they totally just cut Tiberius completely out of the story. They also did things a lot differently. Like Gregory Finch is the guy I thought was responsible for Vex's headaches being related to dragon people, dragon blood, like a Game of Thrones type thing. Totally wrong. It ended up being Krieg. But the way they did it in this is it said something to the effect of Gregory Finch was possessed, and then he was already dead or something when they confronted him, and then they had to go after Krieg. In the show, Krieg stabbed him through the back, and he was trying to help us, or at least prove that Krieg was bad, and we just thought he was the bad guy, including myself, because I feel like they were intentionally misdirecting us, but that's fine if that's the way it goes. But in this, it was totally different. In this, he was already basically dead, and then we went after Krieg, and in the show, Krieg killed him. There's a lot of differences, though. Uriel looks totally different. In the animated show, Uriel is voiced by Ezekiel, and in this, he's a white guy with facial hair, like totally different look for the character. But I mean, hey, they just like swapped it out. But I feel like they did that with a bunch of things. They battled a chimera, and then they fought this demon that was behind a wall or something like that, that was possessing Uriel and his family. And I don't know, I feel like they're using pieces because we do have demonic possession, it seems, in the show. It looks like something's up with Percy in the show. He looks like he's possessed by something. I know it's some kind of smoke entity, people said in other things, or I saw on that other video that it's like a smoke thing that allows him vengeance, but I don't know if that's what they're doing in the show either. That could change in the show. I'm just told that in a video I watched about the bios of the characters. I feel like they're going to stay somewhat on that, but I mean, so many things could be different. I'm very happy I watched this after I watched the 3 episodes, though. Very much like the video I released yesterday, it's definitely worth watching after the 3 episodes. You're going to spoil things. Even though things change, it still will spoil things. Like, for instance, it would have spoiled me finding out that General Krieg was a dragon, because they're like, and then General Krieg walked out and he was a dragon. They didn't like even give you a second to think about it. The animation kind of drags it out. It gives you a chance to figure it out. This was just like, nope, you want to know the story of Vox Machina? We're going to just spitball things at you like rapid fire. Like, here's this guy and then we killed him, and here's this guy and then we killed him. I mean, I think Grog died like twice in this story. Pike, I mean, a lot of people died. I almost feel like Pike's death was represented by Lilith in the show, because they showed a shot that showed Pike like, and she died, and then used Everlast, and they're like, it succeeded though. And I feel like that was all done really quick in the animation through Lilith, which is interesting because that happened in episode 3, which is in the Briarwood arc. But I feel like they have to do things like that where they take a lot of stuff and stuff it into like a one done scene kind of thing, just to give you like a little fan service, like, hey, that was in that thing, but we can't do all of it because there's 5 billion hours of content. But I'm really happy I watched this. I don't know if it might have spoiled things, like they were talking about things like Lady Kima is taken, and Alora, who's the blonde girl, we met in a totally different way. She was already like part of the crew with Uriel and Lady Kima when we saw them. They were all kind of like together when we met him in the show. I mean, I'm just going to assume things are going to be different and that this didn't really spoil a whole lot. What's with the kid that stole Uriel's son? I'm thinking things like that aren't going to be a factor, and if they are, it's going to be changed so that it's not going to matter. Like, Tiberius is part of this, and we don't even know who he is. Right around the same time I posted this, I also posted the official trailer for Undeadwood, which was a 4-part series the Critical Role people did with guests, I'm assuming. I watched the official trailer, and it showed 2 new people at least that joined the crew. I feel like one of them might be a Dragon Master so that Matt Mercer could participate, because Matt Mercer is in full costume, and it looks like more so than if you were just a Dragon Master, unless he's the Dragon Master and also participating, which he does often. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be more rehearsed or scripted per se, in the sense that it's not going to have as much downtime. I feel like it's going to have some rapid fire play along in a 4-parter. Ezekiel was in it too. That's right. Ezekiel, who's doing Uriel's voice in the show, is part of it. I watched the official trailer and I might do a reaction to it. Go watch that and I explain everything that I might be doing soon on the channel. You guys want to see more of what I do, full-on edited reactions, all the shows on the channel, Patreon link in front of me. If you're seeing it on YouTube, we have hundreds of exclusives only on Patreon and we're seasons ahead on all the shows on the channel. Check it out. If not, comments down below. Like and subscribe and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.